Hi, Rigsters here, now with another episode of Forza car series, where I just take random ideas and just see if it works. In this episode, I'm going to take a 2012 Mini John Cooper Works GP front-wheel drive car and see what I can do for a street circuit build. And I'm going to make it pretty zany here. Turbo rally engine. Oh, can I put a supercharger in it? No. I was hoping I could use a supercharger in it, but apparently you only could do turbos for this particular car. So let's start off with the basics here. Let's see here. Let's do a race front bumper, the goofy Forza wing, of course, and we need the best compound available, which is race compound. Maximize grip of 235s by 35 for the front. And maximum rear, because, you know, need the car to be at its best. So it's maximize the drive line, transmission, and clutch, along with the differential. Differential tuning is very important for front-wheel drive cars. Let's do race springs and race roll bars. Maximum weight reduction of 333 pounds. Perfect. Let's get that lighter weight. Best flywheel, of course. I'm going to increase some of the weight with the race oil cooling. Normally I don't do that, but I need as much power as I can. Let's see what else we got here. Max race block, race valves, camshaft, exhaust, and let's see what we got here. 454. Alright. So for all these upgrades, let's see what we got at. 471 horsepower, 403 foot-pounds of torque at 2,175 pounds. Okay. Let's install this setup here. So it's an S1 846 with a max theoretical of 1.9 Gs. Okay. This could work. Not sure how well it's going to work, but it could work. Let me do some tuning here. Let me see here. Alright, so for the tune here, I'm going to be starting off with 27 psi front, 26.5 rear. Gearing, I'm going to do, I guess, 350 gears, just to give it a shot here. And then do 2.10, 120, and 0.83 for 6th gear. And for the camber, do a negative 0.1 and increasing the caster to 5.2 for the alignment. Roll bars, doing much softer front at 20.82 and the rear stiffening to 40.08. For the springs, I'm keeping mostly stock. The ride height I lowered by 0.1 inch. Dampening, I did 70% front and rear. So I did like 12.5 times 0.70 for the front, which should get me about 8.7. So I did 8.6 because I wanted to do 0.1 lower. And for the rear, I did 9.4 times 0.70. So I got like 6.58. So I rounded it up by 0.1 to 6.6. The reason why I do that is because that way the stiffness matches the rebound. Because if you don't match the bump stiffness with rebound, the car is much less controllable. For aero, I decided to reduce some of the front downforce to 150 and the rear to 380. And for the brakes, I put 60% towards the front, so that means it's actually going to the rear. And the differential, I'm going to do 10% acceleration and 60% decel. I'm going to apply that out, and I'll see you at the racetrack. And hopefully this build will work. I mean, I have no idea how well it's going to perform, but I'm going to give it a shot. I also did some, I did some paint job and paint masking onto the car, which I think it looks really nice. So I'm doing a circuit sprint, as they call it. It's not really called a circuit sprint, of course, but it is an oh, whoops, wait. I accidentally made the car's A-class. I meant to do an S1 class, but I guess for my first test, I'll do an A class versus S1. Because I kind of like had a brain fart and realized that that was the previous episode of trying some random ideas. I was doing a dirt combine with the Volvo 850R on the previous one, and I thought, oh, this is A class. I'm like, no wait, this car's an S1. So let's see how I do. And so far, of course, it's not really a fair test, but I'm definitely going to make the gear ratios just a little bit taller because they seem to be too short. But it's definitely driving really nice. Suspension tuning wise is actually really good. For front wheel drive, I got it pretty much to the way I like the car to handle. Just have to might fine tweak or tune it just a little bit. But it does look nice, I will say. Oops. I always keep remembering that the buttons for this game are different than other racing games, so I keep misshifting. But it seems like at 70% of the race and I'm already in the top 3, partly because I picked the wrong class for the opponents. It was not really a fair apples to apples. I'm already in 6th gear and I'm only going like 140, for example. I'm trying to get him out of the way so I can actually get my own car in here. There we go. There we go. Now it's an actual S1 race. I tuned the gear ratios to be a little bit taller, tuned the final drive and adjusted some of the individual gears just a little bit. Now the cars are much faster, and the front differential is a little bit slower to lock. So now I'm also on a different course too, so that way it's a little harder, so I don't have course familiarity. So this should work. I mean, so far I'm already in the halfway through the race, at least position-wise, 6 out of 12. Car's definitely still handling pretty well here. There we go. Now it's much better gear ratios, for sure. It's now not like ping-ponging off the revs as much for the turns. And I'm also getting a little more speed out of it. There we go. Going like 150 and not like bouncing off the rev limiter already. Already going 160 in a front-wheel drive car. Man, even bumping up the difficulty to S1, like the actual class of this car, still really good for the course like this. It won't win any top speed challenges, mind you, but definitely good circuit sprint racer so far. I mean, the amount of grip in the dry is insane. I mean, just look at that. 76% of the race done, and I'm already caught up and are winning. Granted, it's against bots, so they don't drive like people. But it's definitely pretty easy win there. I'm really happy with this car. I'll show you what the tune I adjusted it to a little bit here. So the tire pressure, I think, lowered it to 26.5. It's probably the best thing to do for front wheel drive cars to start off with. It's what I'm noticing so far as a pattern. And then let's see here, do like that here. Make the gears of first and second just a little bit longer. And fourth just a smidge shorter. There we go. Caster's still good. I think I'm going to stiffen the rear and soften the front just by 1/10. Just balance things out here. I think the dampening's fine. The aero might do 2 pounds in each one. And the brakes do 0.62. Lower this, increase that, and lower that there, like so. And apply and save the setup here. And name this S1 Race Mini Stock. There we go. This S1 Race Mini. Doesn't allow you to name it really long name, but that definitely will help. Okay. So that basically concludes this video of front-wheel drive ideas. So yes, you can, with some tuning and practice, get an S1 front-wheel drive car to compete. However, this particular build is definitely not good for the high-speed courses. I would say probably the medium or lower. I definitely have fun driving it, and as always, you want to keep traction control off, ABS on, to take most advantage of the traction loss and gain, depending on what you're doing for the corners. And of course, manual shifting so the automatic doesn't like bog your car down, so you can tell it when to shift up and down as usual. And I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. I mean, it's something that's not meta, but it can work. Just have to practice and play around with the build. So this is Rigsters Journey, signing off.